How's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have Pedestals with us. You can say his name, what he does in the band.
My name's Austin, and I'm the vocalist.
There we go, Austin. Well, thank you for joining me. I was gonna call out Zach, but he's got family matters, and listen,
Yeah,
I respect that. I was gonna be
yeah.
mean, but like I don't. I'm not a mean spirited
Nah, it's
person.
fine. You can be mean. It's all right. It's okay.
I don't
We
I
got,
don't want to do that,
dude.
but
I threw it in the group chat today. I'm like, hey, I'd like even just one extra person would be cool. If you guys want to come do this with me, whatever. And our drummer Corey's like, well, I'm gonna go see Spirit Box tonight, and I was like, yeah, that's fair.
that's fair. Yeah.
And then the other two had like both are doing stuff with their family, so I'm just. And then
Wow.
Kyle does his own thing. He's a rogue man. He's a
Kyle
rogue
was
man.
just like,
Yeah.
oh wait.
We
Oh, you're
we
supposed to
love
do the
him.
interview. Oh
We
yeah.
love
Oh,
him. We
sorry.
love him.
Shit. I didn't. I didn't do it. I'm not here. He like shows up midway through. His
Dude,
pops in.
it's so great. I love Kyle. We'll be like, hey, we have a show coming up. Like, we're gonna have our first rehearsal. Have we been like, practicing? So we're good to go because like a lot of our songs are new, right, for us.
Sure. Yeah.
And we like won't hear from him for like a couple weeks, and then he shows up and he's like way better than the rest of us are. We're
That's
like,
impressive. Yeah.
all right.
I thought it was gonna be the opposite. He was just like, yeah.
No,
I just kind of
that's
wing it.
no. He's always shows up, always ready to go. It's great.
Love to hear it, love to see it.
Yeah.
That was like when you said you're like, yeah, he just goes away for like weeks and then we don't hear from him and then he
Yes.
comes back as like the like king, So I get
No,
it.
yeah, it's great.
I hope that I could have that type of staying power, where I come back
Yeah.
and everybody's like, yo, Brandon, he's been crushing it right now,
Like, I don't know where he was for 2 weeks.
I don't know
but
where he was.
doing something.
He was
right
doing
out
something
there.
important. Yeah, it was very important to the
Yeah.
legacy of audio addiction. So I love
Yeah.
that. Well, Austin, thank you for joining me. I'm not gonna throw shade at the rest of your band, but
Yeah, it's all good.
you're
All
now
good.
you're now higher on the tier list in pedestals. You're number one.
I
for me
appreciate
right
it.
now.
I
But
appreciate it.
but the first question I have for you is, how did pedestals start out? Like, how did you get your members? Because from what I could gather and looking at your Instagram, you're a very new band. Like, I would
Yeah.
say there isn't too much to go off of. And is this like the first project that I imagine this can't be the first project you've been a part of, but was, growing up in the scene and kind of, allowing yourself to kind of evolve and change as a vocalist and as an artist, like, how did that kind of influence the way that you've gone about pedestals and like doing that sort of stuff? Because I think in my heart and in my head, I'm like, this isn't his first project, but if it is,
No. Definitely not.
I'll go leave. I'll get.
Actually, yeah, this is the first time I've tried singing. It's
Oh,
pretty
man.
great, dude.
I'm done.
No, yeah, we actually, the five of us have been playing music together since 2021.
Nice.
And then prior to that, Kyle, so Zach is the most recent member to have like kind of joined us. Kyle joined us, I think, about 2019. And then we kind of the core three of us, our drummer Corey, our bass player Ryan, and myself, I've been kind of like fiddling around playing together since like we were in college, like freshman in
Nice.
college, like
Okay.
2014. So we've kind of had various lineups. Like us core three have had different guitarists kind of come in and out. And more recently, like we had a project called Hate the Thought.
Okay.
And so we've released music under that name. And we kind of started off maybe a little post-hardcore sound. Then kind of transitioned to like an emo pop punk stage, and then kind of more recently shifted towards the like kind of alt rock, shoegazy, indie sound that we kind of have with appearances that we just put out. So we kind of just were looking at the last like 2 to 3 songs we'd released as Hate the Thought, and we were like, we've never had like a big consistency in lineup, a big consistency with sound, and I feel like we finally found our sound, and so we're like, felt like we kind of owed it to ourselves to just have a fresh start and start putting out music that we really love and really connect with. Whereas before it was kind of just a hodgepodge of like, just trying to get our bearings of like writing music and playing music together.
And I feel like that's kind of the growing pains of being in a band and seeing, what you're capable of doing, especially, starting a project out of college, I can very much relate to that because that's how I started this project,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
has, grown and changed over those years. So I can definitely resonate with that sort of thought process. And, I think that for listening to appearances, like I could tell, like pretty much off the gate, I was like, they had to have been working together for a long time because there's just this cohesiveness about this song and just probably the other stuff that's going to be released certainly that has this sort of like it's like this can't be their first song that they've worked together. There's just something magical about like how everything kind of works out, how the music flows, and like the only real gripe that I had about the song was like I was like the mix feels very flat, so I was kind of expecting it to have like a little bit more like energy or a little bit more like warmth or something like that because I know typically with like more shoegazy music like you can feel kind of like that warmth that you would get with like
yeah, yeah,
something
yeah.
that's a little bit more I guess quote unquote like vintage feeling. But I think for me that was the thing that I was kind of I guess per se missing within the song, but I think the actual songwriting was great. I
I
was
don't
like,
know what
damn,
happened.
I was like, he's really just soaking all of this in. And then I looked up and you were just like
I
that.
don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I'm
Well,
so sorry,
that's so good. I
bro.
don't
I
know how
even
much
plugged.
I don't know how much you heard either, to be fair. So I was just going
Uh,
off.
you're talking about the warmth of shoegaze.
Yes.
It's about
So,
where I lost
okay,
you.
good. I didn't talk much longer after that. I was just more so
Okay,
making quips about how just like immaculately you were frozen, like, but no one will see that. That will be gone
just
from
a
this.
statue. Just a
Yeah.
statue.
No. So Austin, as I was kind of continuing saying, like I've I felt like with the mix, I was kind of expecting that sort of like warmth. So it wasn't like I didn't feel like it was just so glaring that I was like, oh man, they really just messed up here.
Yeah,
I just felt like, man, I was hoping for that little extra to just kind of like further like a little bit of salt, like you put a
yeah,
little salt in your food and you're like, oh, all right,
yeah. I
yeah,
think it's a bit. So our friend Desmo's done
okay,
the mixing and mastering for it. So he's more like pop oriented.
okay,
So kind of more pop forward. So yeah, like I would agree. I would agree with what you're saying there. But I think it's a little more intentional where it's like we really love the shoegaze sound, but we kind of want like our vocals are very forward
I would agree,
comparatively to like
yeah,
the genre. Um, so it's kind of a little more intentional. And I think with some of the other songs we have kind of ready to go, there is a bit more of that warmth. I think it just kind of depends from song to song.
sure, sure, sure.
And this one we kind of led with more just because it is probably the poppiest and catchiest of like the songs we have. Um, so that's probably why. But yeah, I don't think you're wrong in saying that for sure.
I think it's a good. I will argue. I think it's a good lead off song. The reaction video will probably be out before this comes out, but I will say like the thing that I really enjoyed about the song itself was like it encapsulated all the things I like about like indie alt and that kind of shoegaze feel. Some bands I feel like you kind of pull from at least from maybe more so an outsider's perspective. I think like Movements was definitely one of those bands. um Teenage Wrist, I feel like you guys kind of have that sort of like alt rock sort of shoegazy feel that they bring. And then as well as that, I feel like you kind of have a little bit of a like a balance and composure sort of vibe. I know that they're more current and came back, which is awesome, but
Yeah, love to see
I
that.
feel like those three bands collectively were like some of those things. And I'm glad you also mentioned Loathe before we hopped on because I feel like
Yeah,
you pull from that kind of Loathe like esque stuff, like more so like the ethereal nature of what they bring to their music, and then also like Mood Ring, even though they're a little bit again
yep,
heavier, but I feel like the like vibes of that, and then obviously ancillary to that, like a Deftones, because that's I feel like they're the godfathers of
yeah,
shoegaze, so
yeah. You can't like, especially nowadays, you can't make like a shoegaze adjacent
track.
track anything without people being like,
Yo,
sounds like
Deftones,
Deftones,
man,
bro.
yeah. Yo,
Yeah, like
where'd
which
you
is
get
great.
this?
Like I'm not
You
gonna
pulled the
complain about
Deftones
that.
out of this song. I
Yeah.
love that. I don't
No,
want to
I
be
think
like
you're
that guy that it says
no,
just
dude.
attaches you to that as well too. But I do feel like
Yeah.
that goes without saying, at that point.
No, hey man, attach me to Deftones all you want. That's a compliment. You know what I mean? No, I agree with you. I think that's a big um, group of bands that we definitely pull from. Definitely Teenage Wrist for sure, especially on
Nice.
that track.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, balance and composure. I think I don't know. I'm really big into like forgetting that bands' discographies exist, and then just like binging one album for
That's
like
fair. That's fair. Yeah.
months and months and months. Um, so like I haven't dove into their music like a ton, but really it's just like the things we think we're missing is like a
Oh,
huge album for me. So like that album in particular, any of Teenage Wrist stuff lately, yeah, huge inspirations for us. So that's cool that that kind of comes across to you.
yeah. I think you guys again kind of have this sort of umbrella of those three genres, but you mix them so well, and it's just this integration of different genres that if you look at it from face value, you'd be like, I don't know how this is going to work out. Like, is this going to work as well as it's on paper? And I would argue, appearances, and I know for a fact I mentioned it in the reaction video was that I think this is a great starting point for people who aren't familiar with pedestals and they need a song to kind of get into. And obviously, being the only song out as of recording, I think it is a good starting point for, people who, check out this interview and are like, oh, yeah, I've never heard of this band, but now I want to check them out. I think that is the quintessential song to listen to right now. However, I'm sure there are more songs to come. So
Yeah.
don't want to just, I just want to say, as of right now, that's the only
Nah,
song
man.
you can
No
listen to
new
currently.
music. No
No
new
new.
music.
This is the only and last song. We're done
Yeah, no,
after this. Yeah.
I appreciate you saying that though. Yeah, for a minute there, we were back and forth on what song we kind of wanted to lead with out of like
Sure.
one or two, and Corey, our drummer, was just like, I don't know, man. I think like this is just the one. Like I think this is just the one. Like this one just it just feels like what Pedestals is. And it's like I'm like, all right, man, we'll just go with it. I don't care. Like I got to the point where I'm like, I don't really care. I just want to put our music out at this
Sure,
point.
sure,
Like
sure.
and like we could lead with a song that doesn't make sense to lead with. I'd still be happy. Like I just want to get my music out there. So I
Sure.
kind of was just like, we'll let everybody else make that decision and this one they picked, and I was hindsight. I'm like, yeah, all right, yeah, we picked the right one. Like it's good. I like it.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think it makes me more curious to check out the other songs because it's like that was such a good base layer to kind of figure out like what you guys are about and like Austin emailed me like out of the blue to just come on the show, which is great. I love that. But I feel like gives me that prime opportunity to check out a band that has like one song out and like this is the one to listen to. So I like the appreciation to just like funnel it all into just listening to this one song. And you can check the links below. You can go check out the song and let me know what you think about it. But I do feel like it is a great starting point, and I think it just makes me more curious to see like how far out you guys go and maybe how like refined everything can be, because I think there is that level of like you can hear that pedestal sound, so I'm curious if that sort of migrates into the next song that's released and I'm like, okay, is there some things that I can kind of pick out musically that was in appearances that might end up on another song that's out by the time, maybe by the time this comes out. I have no idea. But in regards to, like you said, you guys as a collective were really excited to release these songs. Like, how long of a process has this been? Because I know, as I mentioned before, you guys are pretty new as a band going by pedestals. Was this pre like COVID that you guys had written stuff and then like it just kind of took a little bit longer, much like most things during that time frame?
Yeah,
Did you think the project was going to start sooner because of, but obviously did not happen in hindsight, but
yeah. So I think one thing we've learned over the years is like if you set a deadline of like we want to release music at this date, like maybe push it out 6 months. Uh, like it just there's always something maybe comes up maybe who you're working with, like from an engineering perspective, has different clientele coming in. They
Sure.
can't squeeze you in. Whatever. Something's going to come up. So yeah, it's been like we've been writing music for this project, like going back to like 2021.
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
But we were like previously as Hate the Thought were releasing music up through like 2022.
Okay. Wow.
So like I was writing kind of a bit of this and then also having other songs on the back burner that we were kind of
Wow.
figuring out. And yeah, so like I went out to San Diego for a month for work
Oh,
and
nice.
like away from my wife and my daughter. So I was just like cooped up, didn't have anything else to do, and just kind of banged out the majority of like what we kind of have stacked up right now.
Sure. Okay.
Like what we wanted to do, and we kind of brought a bunch of demos to the guys and was like, what do we do with this? And they were like, I don't know, it's sick, but it doesn't really sound like the same band. So that's kind
Sure.
of when we decided, like, all right, let's package up these last couple songs we have, put them out as we currently stand, and then we'll kind of shift gears and really like set things off right. Um, so yeah, it's kind of been not a long time coming. I mean, a couple of years, you know what I mean? But yeah, 2021.
Nice. Yeah. And I think that's like, I feel like that's when every band came out from underneath their rock and like was like, oh, we have to release stuff. Like now, like I
Yeah.
either feel like if you were in 2020, like you were writing and recording either your next full length or next EP or next couple EPs and like just have everything just like dialed in. So when the inevitable time when things, opened up, which obviously I can say that now, but like
Yeah.
during that
Yeah.
time, the future is very uncertain. So I think
Yep.
that for again, I mentioned this in like a previous interview. It's just like it's nice to know that bands are back and doing it as a more steady thing and more collective thing now because I probably would have stopped doing YouTube. So it's it's a
Yeah.
good thing. It's
Yeah.
a good thing everything turned out the way it
Yeah.
turned out to. But oh
Yeah.
man, that was a scary time. So I'm glad you guys also muddled the storm as well and were able to obviously put this project into work. And I'm sure it's a hard thing because like when you go under a band name or like an artist, like, go under a thought process of like, this is how we want to release things. And then to just be like, listen, we're writing stuff that's completely different. Now we have to like shift tracks. That's a pretty big deal as a band. And I feel like a lot of the times that can be a make or break moment. So for people to still be on board and obviously the core three members like really just being like, hey, like we should just do this, we should just make the full jump and change names and change the sound and stuff like that. I think that takes a lot of guts, so I got to give you guys a lot of kudos for that because I feel like that would for me be a difficult changeover, but I think that it would be a rewarding one nonetheless. Like, and that kind of transitions into the next question. Like, how do you feel like people have, especially fans that have been around since, like, for your other previous projects, do you feel like they have been receptive to the new song? Because, again, the other stuff was a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more on the post hardcore side. And then this stuff's more a little bit alt, emo, indie kind of vibes. Like, do you feel like people were like, I don't know. I don't know if this is it. Like, have you guys
No.
received any sort of like vibes about that? You'll be putting my editing work to the best abilities right now.
Yeah, I'm putting you through the ringer. You're
It's
gonna
all
be
right.
logging off,
All
fucking
I'm gonna
sweating it.
say, all I'm gonna say is I don't want to jinx it. I'll knock on wood here, but like some of my best interviews have been the ones that where we like dip in and out. So I hope it's not a lot. I want to say I hope it doesn't happen a lot, but
Yeah.
just saying. But anyway, I was, as you were saying before, you're caught off by whatever internet service provider you
I
have.
It's awful around here, dude, and I don't get a choice as to who I have, so it's
Oh,
great.
ugh.
Yeah, so as far as the reception of appearances goes, like I feel like we've gotten maybe not like more compliments than we have in the past, but like
Sure.
definitely just a lot of love on it.
That's awesome. Good to hear.
Like it's it's a shift in sound, but like versus like the last, again, 2 to 3 songs we put out, like it's similar enough where I think it's an easy transition for people to make who are
Sure.
already fans of us. Um, so that I think wasn't the hard part. I think the harder part is maybe just like really for us, even just mentally, is like you're just starting from scratch. Like it's
Yeah.
just brand new. Like even if we've been at this for however long, like every new account, every like the Spotify account, everything's starting from scratch. And so it's like on the one hand, it's tougher. On the other hand, I feel like it maybe motivates us a little bit harder to try and get our name out there and I don't know, just play more shows, put more music out, just really go a little harder than we had before, and just not get like comfortable with it. I guess if that makes any sense.
No, 100%. I think it's like whenever I see a band hit like the soft reset on their music, it's like simultaneously it's like, oh man, that hurts my chest. You know what I mean? Like I can see it being from not only like the fan side, but also like seeing like the business side of things and being like,
Yeah,
fuck man, like that
yeah,
that hurts my chest. But I also feel like at the same point, I think it makes it more rewarding for people that are like, okay, I've seen you guys grow as a collective over the past couple years, and for you to like really like hone in and really kind of like, put the name in the stone of just like, we want to make sure that this is the project that we're going to go with and that we're going to succeed with. I got to give you, I got to give, Pedestals as a whole so much kudos because like very easily that could be very discouraging, and to see not only like the reception been great about the song, but also like for just kind of collectively as the social media is kind of like looking over everything. I was like, I mean, for being a new band, quote unquote, like you guys are doing pretty well. So I mean, that that to me is a good sign that you have those dedicated fans that really care about what you do and like don't really give a shit like what you guys are gonna be releasing because they're gonna like it, and so
yeah,
that's great to see.
yeah. Nah, dude. Even if it's like 20 people that are just like consistently like, dude, that like genuinely brings joy to my heart of like just putting music out that I'm like putting my heart and soul into, and people are 10, 20, 30, 100, 200 people, whatever. Like it feels good having people listen to that and connect with it and enjoy it and love it. And yeah, so it could be discouraging, but I think we just looked at it as like we're gonna put the music out anyways because we love doing this. So like either way we're doing it, we might as well try to do it the right way, I guess is how we looked at it.
Sure, it's like
Yeah,
a hell or high water situation, so
yeah.
I appreciate the kudos for just going out and doing it. And guys, listen, if there's any more reason to go check out Pedestals, you could check the link in the description. These are the crucial times where you should give them a follow, and then you could just say like in
We're
hindsight that
we're
you're like,
starving out here, bro.
you
We're
could just we're
starving.
start. You could just say, you're like, oh yeah, I've known about pedestals for a while, and you could be like one of those
Yeah,
people. No one likes
exactly.
them, but hey, you could be one of those people that said you knew about pedestals when they release appearances. So I'm just
That's
saying,
right.
that
That's
would be
right.
kind of sick. You
You
know,
you can gatekeep if as long as you're
I
listening to the music, you can gatekeep.
I
Don't
can't sign
gatekeep.
up. Can't sign up
Spread
on.
spread spread our music everywhere. Don't gatekeep. Don't do
Yeah,
that.
don't say like,
Gatekeeping's
yeah,
bad.
man. Yeah, have you heard of puzzles? No, get the fuck out of here. No, you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't do that, dude.
Can't do that. Get out of
Sharing our
here.
music? No
Oh,
thanks.
get out of here. Yeah. I don't want to I don't want to live comfortably, So
No, no, no.
I don't want to make like a decent amount of money doing music, Something that I love doing. Why would I want to do
Why would
that?
why would I want to be successful? Come on, man. Come on. That's
I hope
crazy.
someone takes this out of context and is just like this band doesn't want to be successful, so don't don't click on them. They're not great.
I hope that doesn't happen, but
I
hey,
hope not. Guys, don't
it's the
do it.
internet. Anything can
Guys,
happen.
don't do it. I'm telling you, don't do it. I'd be very upset. You don't want to make me mad. I'm not a very happy camper if that's the case. But besides the point, I have to ask Austin, who were kind of the first like artists or bands that you either saw on like TV or you remember from like your childhood that really you looked at and you're like, I'd love to make music. I'd love to start doing this. Like, were there any particular artists that you were just like, this is what I want to do. I love to do this.
I've got like two short stories
Love it.
regarding that. So the first one is like a literal like core memory of like my childhood being like, I don't even know, 4 or 5 years old, something like one of my earliest memories.
Nice.
And my dad had these big stack speakers in the living room. He's got everything hooked up, and we're rocking Nickelback Silver Side Up, dude.
Ooh, wow.
And
All right. All
that's
right.
like legit my first memory of listening to music. So people can clown Nickelback all they want. I don't
Nah,
care. That's
I
like
got you.
it's a whole.
I got you, Austin.
They
Yeah.
hold like a personal place, a place in my heart. But then like more so where I was like, oh, I really love music. Like I'm like in my bedroom with a rock band microphone, like
Oh,
jamming out like a weirdo
yeah.
at age like 9 or 10 or something. It's like Linkin Park.
Oh,
So
classic.
like
Yeah.
their first two records for me are like above everything else, like on a personal level. Like there's probably music that I like more now as like I've grown and now that I'm an adult and everything. But yeah, those two first records are like it to me. But like seeing I had the Live in Texas album where I think it's like a combination of their first two records that they're out playing live. And
Yes.
I remember we had like a DVD player in the car or something like that as a
Oh,
kid.
wow. Yeah.
Like something like that. Yeah, like real like tiny like 7-inch screen
Yep.
or whatever it
Yeah.
is, right?
I know. Yeah.
And I would like throw that on in the car on like long drives and just sit there and watch them like go crazy. So that was, yeah, like for some reason that live album in particular is like it for me.
Oh no,
But
it's goated. Like that's probably
yeah,
one of the craziest. Like I'll go back and go through the deep dives of like we got to get at the end of this. We'll give a shout out to you, whoever your internet service provider is. They
Xfinity, I'm giving you a call on
oh yeah,
Monday.
holy shit. Yeah,
That's great, dude.
L's for
I even
Xfinity.
got the Ethernet. I even got the Ethernet plugged in today
Whew,
because I was like, I'm not
I'm
losing
not
it
losing
today.
it. Oh, so you man,
I was like,
they really
dude,
handing
because
out the L's right now.
I've
That's all
been
I'm saying.
having like the last couple days. It's like it hasn't been too bad, but like the last couple days has been a little slow. So I'm like, we'll plug it in just to be safe, but I don't think it's going to be any issue. And lo and behold, it's a bit of an issue.
So I feel like just someone Xfinity is just like, oh, they're doing an interview. Okay,
Oh, they're definitely
I'm
shutting
gonna
off
keep,
my internet
shutting it
periodically.
off
Yeah,
periodically.
yeah.
You're just gonna Xfinity. You need to hold this. This is yours. Take it back. Um,
Thank you.
but anyway, Austin, I love that because I feel like that's a core. Lincoln Park is a core memory for me as well. Like, I got into them just like obviously through like listening to them on the radio and then diving deeper and getting into like Meteor was the first album that I listened to from them, and then went back and listened to Hybrid Theory because much like you, I love both of those albums so much, and
Yeah.
they obviously resonate a lot with my like young teen years.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that that's such a fantastic record, and I'm so glad that bands in this like genre of music or just like scene of music really love Linkin Park. Like I don't think I've really met anyone that like unless you like lived under a rock and didn't know about Linkin Park, which is totally possible, but I would say like a large majority of people have and heard Linkin Park, and so I appreciate that. Despite them not being a band, they still have that sort of influence on the type of music that is being made now. So, big salutes to Linkin Park. Love those
Absolutely.
guys. Mike Shinoda, thanks for watching the show. Really appreciate it. If you want to come on, answer those DMs, that'd be great. I'd be really, really stoked. As also
He'll swing by. He'll
an
swing
Asian
by.
American, we have that,
Yes, sir.
so I feel like, you gotta be a part of that, Mike, that'd be
Yeah.
great. So let's do it. Hit the DMs up. And then also work with like Pedestals because that'd be kind of sick, so just saying.
That'd be very tight. That'd be very tight. A little feature, maybe. That'd be
Yeah, come
cool.
on.
That'd
Come
be
on,
cool.
Mike. Let's go.
That's probably an expensive feature, but we'll do it.
Listen, we're musicians. You were poor at one point, so I feel like,
It's true.
you
That's
can
true.
resonate with that, so
That's true.
just saying, Mike, call us up. Our people talk to your people, it'd be great. So
Yep. Hit my line, Mike. Hit my line.
I'll give you his phone. His phone number is 55. No, I'm kidding. No, I love that, Austin. And, growing up as a kid, like, in your dad being so, influential, and you know, growing up in more, I guess, so more so in a musical household, and obviously you being a dad now, like, do you want to be able to kind of instill those things into your daughter of being like, yeah, rock's kind of sick, you want to be a part of that?
Yeah. It's kind of interesting because like uh, I absolutely have to like give my dad credit for my musical taste now, but like it wasn't something he really like pushed onto me or we like connected
Okay.
over. It was just like he had this massive cabinet full of CDs and I just kind of picked him up and was listening to him on my own. And so it was like, and then now he like listens to country and stuff. You know what I mean? As you make that transition when you're older, apparently.
I
Uh,
hope not.
I hope I don't, but I've seen it happen too many
I,
times that I'm kind of scared.
I'm
But
worried now. Don't put that on the ether. I don't want
I've
that to happen
seen
to
it
either of
happen.
us. To,
I
I
don't
want it
matter.
to happen to us, Austin. We can't
Yeah.
do it.
But yeah, so I like would pick up, I would just kind of thumb through his cabinet and see what I was going to listen to. And so it was like another like live record, like Blink 182, and they've
Oh,
got like a full uncut version of uh the show. And I'm just like 9 years old listening to them say the most obscene shit.
yes,
Like definitely
yes,
very formative for me. But yeah, as like much as that wasn't like being pushed onto me, like it became important to me, and I will credit him for that. And like it's very much like important for me now as a father, where I'm just like I want to be able to connect with my daughter that way. And like it's pretty funny. I've like she'll kind of headbang when like she knows like when a rock song comes on versus like she calls them like daddy songs, and then she has her like kid songs and she calls them like Ginny songs. Uh, so like when daddy songs are on,
yeah,
we're getting the hair out and we're kind of rocking out a little bit. And
yeah.
like it's super cool. And we like put the music video on
Oh,
for her on like the TV, and she was like, "Look, mama, that's Dada." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's me."
yeah, that
So
person
it's
on the
super
TV.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super cool to like show her all that and kind of I don't know, it makes me think back to being a kid and like discovering
Oh
music
yeah.
like that for the first time. And I'm like, man, that's just like it's just so cool. Like, I wish I could go back and kind of rediscover stuff like that again.
Yeah, and I
But
also feel like it, offers you a unique opportunity to, like, formulate, her life, and not obviously not in that way, but just like
yeah, yeah,
really
yeah,
kind of influence like her musical styling. And if, obviously if she wants to get into music, then, so be it. But if not,
yeah,
that's also fine too. I just
yeah,
think that that's such a cool thing. And I hope I can have that same sort of influence on my niece because, like, I'm just a rocker,
yep,
so it would be
yep,
cool once she gets old enough and she can watch, Uncle Brandon's videos on YouTube, and she'll be like, "Oh, that's Uncle Brandon. That's awesome." And
yeah.
be
No,
like,
you're gonna
"Listen,
be the cool uncle, man. You're gonna be the
I
cool
am.
uncle who's
I'm
rocking
trying.
out.
I'm trying. I've
Yeah,
really been into the JoJo. I've been really working on it, so, you know, I'm really trying to be that cool uncle. So,
yeah,
let me know, Kinsley, if you watch this. Salutes. Love you. But yeah, I think that's awesome, and it's such a cool thing. So obviously something to be proud of, certainly. But um, I love that the fact that your earlier years were just watching like DVDs and watching like live performances because like that's such a cool thing. I think that like
yeah,
kids now they're just like so used to like like typing in whatever it was on YouTube and they can go watch the video or like whatever it is now. And like
yep,
I just remember being a kid and like having a DVD and watching like bands play live on TV and you're just like, holy shit, that's so
yeah,
crazy. And then
yep,
now you can just like it's at your fingertips and you can just search it up. It's just so wild to me. So that makes me feel
yeah.
really old. So consequently, like,
It
it is what
does.
it is.
Yeah, me
But,
too.
I'm gonna age either very well or very poorly here on YouTube. So if you stick around, thank you for watching still. I'm gonna be doing this shit in like a wheelchair or something when I get hella old. But hope not. I hope I have lived long enough to do this. But the next question I have for you, Austin, is who influences your style now? Who's kind of some of the artists that really kind of not only influence you as a vocalist, but also like Pedestals as a collective?
Yeah, so I guess as a vocalist, I don't like, I think the only person I can kind of like that comes to mind is like Andrew Fisher of Basement.
Oh, nice. Okay,
Um
yeah.
but I don't think I sound like him or anything by any means, but I'm just like I listen to a lot of the his kind of like melody style and the way he delivers, and I'm like
Yeah,
that's kind of what I want to do. But like I don't know, I kind of I feel like I have more of an like when I'm writing songs, I'm like very like the instrumentation always comes first. So I feel like I think about that more often. Um, and then whatever comes out vocally just kind of ends up happening. So I guess for like bands, as far as that stuff goes, like still Basement for sure.
sure.
Teenage Wrist. Some of like if I want to kind of get a heavier sound going, maybe some like Super Heaven.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Yeah.
like more recently it's been like Loathe and Mood Ring. You talked about them earlier. I've
Nice.
been really digging their last album. But yeah, just obviously like bands like Deftones and then Linkin Park as well again. But yeah, just a lot of the sort of like 20, because like I feel like I was a late bloomer as far as like participating in the scene goes.
Okay.
Like I was at home as a kid watching DVDs, listening to CDs. You know, once I was like old enough to be on the internet, like going on YouTube and stuff in its early days and finding music. And like we had a really good scene in my area, but I was like just a little too young to kind of be involved in it. And then it kind of quieted down for a bit, and now it's sort of picked back up in the last like 3 to 5 years.
Nice. Okay.
So it's a good time for me to kind of start getting into it. But yeah, I don't know. It's tough to say. Like it's really just everything I've been listening to has started kind of in college. Like I wasn't like, oh, there's like a scene of people that I can go and like go to a show and like connect with and
Sure. Yeah.
just do dumb shit out of like go watch it. But like my first actual concert was 4 years strong in like 2015
Ooh.
down in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Like that was like literally, and I was like 19. That was my
Wow.
first concert.
Nice.
So yeah, I feel like a lot of that era of like 2010s emo shoegaze, like whatever sort of revival like
Yeah.
shit was going on back then, like that was the more formative stuff for like what I write and what I like to listen to now, I guess.
Yeah, no, I could definitely tell that was like kind of the vibe of Pedestals as a whole was just like I think you guys have this kind of a nostalgia attached to your music, but also at the same point I think you kind of modernize it or like pull from more current bands like you mentioned Teenage Wrist. I really feel like that kind of sound like balance and composure as well. I just feel like those are the types of bands that I kind of would associate with you guys. I wouldn't say you directly sound like either one of those bands, but you can kind of hear those influences. But yeah, I feel that as well. Like I grew up in a very religious household, and then I wasn't really able to go out and see shows unless they involved religion in some way. So I got
Sure.
into bands like The Devil Wears Prada, August Burns Red, Under Oath, all of those sorts of bands, and then kind of migrated out and listened to more bands, and then started going to shows. Like I used to live in New Jersey, so I went to a lot of those sorts of shows, and I think that's when like the light switch like turned, and I was like, oh, these are
Yeah.
my people. Like this is what I need to.
Yeah.
This is where I need to be at, and just kind of like went from there. But yeah, I find that I find a lot of similarities because like those are the types of bands that I grew up listening to and still love to this day. 4 Years Strong, probably one of my favorite bands of all time. Really enjoy their music. From the earlier stages of Rise or Die trying to like the most current stuff off of Brain Pain. Like I think they have transitioned so well into like still having those pop punk roots, but also like again having like more heavier portions to their music as well. So I don't think that they're letting up in the way that I felt like
Yeah.
they would have. In fact, I feel like they've gotten heavier as they've aged more. So, I
Yeah.
feel like that's a good sign because usually I feel like people kind of like press off the gas a little bit and just like
Yeah,
allow
for sure.
themselves to get into like something a little bit more melodic. So for them to like dig deeper and go into heavier like esque music, I
Yeah.
think that's pretty impressive. So I got to give them a lot of kudos for that.
Yeah, that was like when I went to that show, that was like they were putting out like I'd never listened to them, and that was their like I think they were out promoting their self-titled record.
Oh, that was great
Um
too.
so like I don't like basically, and again I kind of going back to before where like I'll binge one record, like that's the record for me for them.
Oh,
And then
wow.
like
Okay.
I've listened to like I've gone back and listened to some of them because our drummer Corey like really likes them, like
Oh, they're great. Yeah.
loves them, like probably has seen them 6 or 7 times, I would guess, at this
Woo.
point. And so like he's all about it. So like I'll go back and listen and kind of stay up to date so I know what's going on. And like I listened to Brain Pain a good amount when it came out, but yeah, I was mostly like I went with Corey and he kind of brought me because he was like, yeah, I know you've never been to a show. Like you need to like see what this shit is about.
Yeah.
And to this day, like it's probably nostalgia, but to this day, I've not been to like a more fun show. I've not had a more like fun social experience in my life than that specific show because it was uh Elder Brother,
Oh,
Defeater,
nice.
Super Heaven, and
Yeah.
4 Years Strong.
Oh, great lineup. Yeah.
This shit was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really dope.
Yeah, and I think like that also like I agree with you as well. Like I think those types of shows bring a unique atmosphere, but like I'd also say too, like house shows are a completely different vibe. Like I
Yeah,
think people kind of get this ideology of like seeing a show at a concert venue, and that's great. Like don't get me wrong, but I think loves. Oh, Ari, I'm glad I noticed it at least. You at least know it's coming, which
I'm
is
just waiting
a
for
little
it like
terrifying. It's just a little
every
terrifying, and I'm
15
like,
minutes, dude.
it's all right, we'll get it going. But no,
We'll make it happen.
we'll make it happen. But I do feel like seeing shows in a venue is great, and you get to experience it. But like I love seeing bands in like a small club or like even a house
Yes.
show. It's just there's
Yeah.
something about the people that are there are so dedicated to that band because they're like I don't like most people don't give a shit about this band, but they're playing in this like small house show.
Yeah.
Such a great vibe. So I love
Yep.
that. But yeah, I love the fact that your first show was 4 Years Strong because arguably one of the best bands to do it. I've seen them live at Warp Tour. I've seen them live like in small venues. I've seen them, play like larger tours and stuff. So I've kind of seen
Yep.
them all over the map. And like I said, just been a big fan for a while. So love their stuff and
Yeah.
um, would love to work with them at some point. Who knows? We'll figure it out. But
That'd be very cool.
the next question I have for you, Austin, is what are you listening to more currently? I love asking this question because everybody listens to different things. So, what are you jamming to right now?
I've been listening to Narrowhead's new record, Moments of Clarity.
Nice. Okay.
Uh, and then there's a band out in Oklahoma. It's either Oklahoma or Texas, I think, called Money.
Ooh.
Uh,
Okay.
and they put out a new single. I would imagine they're going to be putting out like a EP or a record or something soon. So it's the first single off of whatever that's going to be. And then they had put an EP out last year, so that single kind of got me back to like spinning
Ooh.
that one around
Okay.
again. And then there's another band called Present. I've been putting their EP on a lot. I think it's called I Want. But those have been kind of like I'm very much just I kind of just listen to the same stuff on repeat until I'm like so sick and tired of it that I won't touch it for like 6 months. So
Love
it's like
that.
literally I'll go on my spot of like I'll work from home like good portion of the time. So I'll like have the speakers going pretty loud and I'm like, I just can't be bothered trying to find something new. And I'm like,
You just
Narrowhead,
throw it
here we
on.
go. And I just throw it on. It's right there. It's in my recommended because I've listened to it every day for the last like month and a half or whenever it came out. Like,
The tried and
so yeah.
trues, I got you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish
Yeah.
I had that luxury to just like know what to throw on because I just get recommended so much stuff like
Yeah.
while I'm at my job and then I'm like fumbling through trying to be like which band am I going to listen to today? But now I have some more to add to the list. So
That's
I
right.
love that, so just filling up I feel like my Spotify Wrapped is just gonna be all over the place. So I'm very excited
Yeah.
to see that
It's
because I
like
don't.
I'm sure you have so much coming in and out that you're just like your top song you listened to 3 times this year because you're just like I gotta stay up
Bro.
to date.
Oh, it is a rat race. I'll tell you what. I try
Yeah,
to focus on stuff that I know is like that people have been pretty hyped about because I like want to see what it's about. But then I also
yeah,
like put in albums that I know I'm gonna love because these are bands that I just like absolutely adore. So I think it's kind of finding that middle ground of like bands that I
yeah, for
love and
sure.
I'm gonna be on the lookout for their new stuff, and then like bands that are like, oh the shit, this came out, like I should check them out because everybody's
Yeah,
talking about them. So I think it's kind of finding that balance of different things. And I also love just like listening to albums and just going, what the fuck is this? That's kind of like my new thing now, is where I
yeah,
just find an extremely chaotic record or something that I like wouldn't typically listen to and then just be like floored by it. So
yep,
hoping to branch out more. So if you got like a really interesting record that came out this year, let me know in the comments. Would love to know. I'll have to check out Money. That seems really interesting, especially
yeah.
just with a name
They're
like
super
that.
dope.
I mean,
They're
come on.
super dope. Yep.
Speaking about name, Austin, was Pedestals the first band name that you guys thought of when you're talking about like doing the transition to the new band? I kind of find that like the band name question is a little cheesy, but I felt like with your band name, it's like that seems very unique to have
I,
that as a choice.
I think it's a good question because depending on the band, it could be like a really sick story.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
But for us, it's pretty boring. But I kind of was just like, I like, what band names do I like? All right, what do I think would sound sick? And I had like a list of like 5 to 8 names or something like that. Threw them in like our group chat, and I was like, all right, everybody pick one. And they were like, all right, everybody likes pedestals. All right, cool, we're pedestals. Like
Wow.
it was kind of just simple like that. It wasn't like when we were Hate the Thought, right? It was like I think someone pulled it out of like is either a turnover or like a story so far lyric.
Oh, okay, nice.
So
Yeah.
we just were like, cool. And that took us like literally like 2 months to figure out, which it's, I don't even like the name. It's just like, whatever. But
It was
this
a
one,
place. It was a
I was
placeholder for this one.
exactly. So like for pedestals, I was just like, let me just think of some that sounds kind of cool. Just straight to the point is maybe like, I don't know, genre specific, I guess. Like it'll fits the vibe, whatever. And not overthink it this time around.
Well, I'm glad you didn't spend 2 months on coming
Yeah.
down with the name pedestals. I would be a little bit,
Yeah.
I'd be a little bit frustrated. I think if it was,
Yeah,
if it was on
I
my
think I
end,
would be too.
I
I
would
think
be
I
like
would be
2 months
too.
to come up with a band name is a little bit of a long
Yeah,
shot.
no, that's what happens when you're like 19 and like nobody knows what they're doing. So, but I'm just glad that's not the case anymore.
There you go. You guys are divisive, and I appreciate that. But yeah, I like that name. I thought that was kind of something else. I was like, yeah, that seems like it's like movements. Like it's like the same thing. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
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 that seems very like a very indie esque like
yeah.
alt band name. So I'm gonna name my bear Chair next. So guys, you can we're gonna tour together, Chair and Pedestal.
Hell yeah, baby.
It's gonna be sick. We should just have, there should just be like a record label that only signs like just like furniture bands that are named after like furniture, like
I
couch.
think are there other ones?
I
Dude,
don't know.
there's some crazy like noun band names out there where I'm just like honestly, like when I first started listening to Basement, I was like, who the fuck names their band Basement?
That's what I thought. I'm not even joking. That was
And
like
that
when I found out about Basement, I was like, why would they name their band
yeah.
name Basement?
And now it's just like kind of the normal thing to do. And I'm just like, fuck it. Now noun name. Here we are. We're pedestals.
You did
It
it,
works. It
You got
works. We did it.
movements, as I mentioned
Yeah,
earlier, it just works out. So
it does.
just name your band one pronoun. That's it. That's
Yeah,
yeah.
just one word. That's
One
all you
noun,
need.
whatever. It's got it. You're
Yeah,
good. You're straight. Unlike me, where I have 2 words in my YouTube name. So, I don't
unbelievable.
qualify for that
You're
one
just
noun.
audio now.
I just
You're just audio.
good. Well, I'm glad you picked that one because I feel like addiction might be a little bit
Yeah.
harder to go
I
go
thought I
by.
thought about it for a
I
second. I
appreciate
was like,
it.
we'll go with the first one.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's appropriate. Well,
Yeah.
I kind of shorten it up to AA, and then people think that I'm talking about like Alcoholics Anonymous, and that's a little bit, it's very confusing. I'm like, yeah, I went
Yeah.
to AA today, and they're like, are you all right, Brandon? And I'm like, oh,
Your
no, 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 no.
channel is
Like, I was
about
like,
being addicted to things
yeah,
such as audio.
yes.
Here you are in AA. It checks out. It checks out. It makes sense.
Well,
It doesn't make
if you only
sense.
knew Austin, I'm actually allergic to alcohol, so then the irony would further extend to that joke about AA. So
That is wild. That
yeah.
is wild.
So then there you go. That it wouldn't have worked out for me. But it
No.
would be ironic if I went to like Alcoholics Anonymous as being a non-alcoholic.
You're like,
So
I'm allergic. Is this
I'm
where I'm
allergic.
supposed to be?
Yeah. And they're like, get the fuck out.
You're like, no, go see a doctor. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm like, I've already done that. He told me to come here. I am your mentor now. I have sobriety on lock, so let's do this shit.
That's forced sobriety right there.
Yeah. God was like allergic, and then
Yes.
now I should be just a sobriety counselor. Honestly, you can see that will be my next endeavor, guys, is being a sobriety counselor. So hopefully none of you have that addiction, but hey, listen, we'll get it fixed for you. I'll get
Yes,
you a
sir.
good record to listen to, and you'll be all set.
That's right, baby.
But wow, that took a turn.
I love that.
Anyway, the next question I have for you, Austin, is if you guys were to have a song to cover, what would it be?
Oh man, a song to cover. I want to be honest, I don't know that I can give you one because
Ooh.
our like I think everybody's individual influence is so just different
Okay.
that
Yeah.
it's just so different. Like we all listen to different stuff. So like we've actually over the years kind of had a hard time when we do want to play one or two covers here and there. Like genuinely had a hard time like coming up with cover songs. We've played like Linkin Park. We've played a Linkin Park song. I'll say that. I'll say we'll play some Linkin Park.
There you go.
Because I can't, because it's
that
like
covers
Ryan,
all the bases.
Yeah, like Corey really likes like a lot of the more like modern metal sound. Zach, I would say, is him and I have similar taste. Corey and I have similar taste too. Like he'll go listen to like, some Turnover, Super Heaven, whatever, like a lot as well. But I think he always kind of goes back to that sort of modern metal sound. Ryan's kind of the same way, modern metal with like a lot of like classic metal. And then Kyle's like a big classic rock dude, which he's our lead guitarist. So it kind of works out. He's got a lot of flair in his parts,
Yeah.
So
I got you.
So it's tough. And then I'm just like anything that's like 90s or shoegaze or alternative, I'm like, just give it to me. So it's there's not like a big consensus on that by any means.
It's just a tough choice, I did kind of figure it. I was like, this is a man of taste because I see the peripheral vision down in the corner over there in the record cabinet. So I was I have that same record. So obviously I don't know what color, but like, I have it. I bought it from.
Dude, I don't know. I haven't put a record on in quite some time because I don't have I had a speaker system and it was like it's just really bulky and too much, and so I got rid of it. And I was like, I'll buy some like
nice
my record
stuff.
player's got like Bluetooth, whatever. I'm like, I'll buy some nice Bluetooth speakers, and I just like never did it. So it's just kind of there.
But you have the TV right there. I will say, game changer is I also have the same record player, and I have like a sound bar for my TV, and it just connects to the sound bar, so it's great.
So yeah, we have one in the living room that I used to hook the record player up to. So I've done that like once or twice. But yeah, I need to get a sound. I just recently moved. This is my sunroom, so I moved my like office and kind of my setup in here. Used to be a playroom for my daughter, but she just kept taking her toys to the living room, so we just kind of now I have an office, so it works out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm still like kind of trying to get everything set up or whatever. So
Well,
Soundbar is the next move
there
for
you
me, so I
go.
can
Well,
play my
I listen.
records.
I don't want you to come across as like a vinyl poser. That would be my that'd
Dude,
be my fear. So
yeah, no. I don't buy it as much as I used to in college,
to be fair, yeah,
but a lot of what I've bought recently is like repressings of or like deluxe versions of records that I listened to in college. So like
sure, yeah.
the Peripheral Vision one is their most recent like repressing. I just got like the Color Mean.
I won't think
Anyways,
any less of you, Austin.
I
That's
really
what. Yeah,
appreciate you. We out here with broke boy internet.
it's all right. Respect,
Uh,
But it goes back to the former point of us being both broke, So
that's right.
I get it. But anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, so you were saying don't pick up records as much as you used to, which would make sense because you have a kid and you're
Yes.
trying
Yeah.
to be financially responsible. So I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
There's a lot of things that I don't buy anymore now. So it's just yeah, dude. There's lots of things shift. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, I picked up Peripheral Vision repressing the was it 10-year anniversary of Color Me in Kindness.
Ooh, nice. Okay,
And then I
yeah,
just pre-ordered the Super Heavens Jar. They did like a
nice.
10-year
Yes, I did see that.
for that. So those are like the three most recent, and the Turnover one I think was even like probably a couple years ago.
Wow.
So
All
that's
right.
I'm not really in the game anymore, but
It's all
I
right.
got them. So
You're showing them off, so that's
yeah,
I think that's for what more can you say about that? I think
yeah,
I as a vinyl aficionado, I have to pay you your respects. So you're
I
doing
appreciate it.
you got it. So I mean I just look at your collection and I'm just like, God, I spend so much money on records because then I look
Oh
over
yeah,
mine and I'm like, I literally have like 4 rows of that. So
yeah. I've got like that,
I
and then I got a couple hanging on the wall, and that's all I got.
yeah, well, I got to live up to the name Audio Addiction. I wouldn't be buying
Yeah, yeah,
records if
yeah.
I didn't live up to the name. So,
That's true.
I gotta hold it down. My one roommate keeps thinking that, ironically enough, I know you mentioned Spirit Box earlier, but he bought like an Eternal Blue, their newest album, on vinyl, and he has been waiting patiently for it. But every time that I buy records, he thinks it's his, and then he looks at the name and it's like, fuck, that's not mine.
That's not
So then
mine.
he gets like simultaneously like pissed off that like his records hasn't come, and I'm bringing up like fucking like 3 boxes full of records. I'm like, sorry, man. I'm sorry, that's not your Spirits Box record.
Yeah,
You'll get
yeah.
it in like 6 months probably. Like,
Dude, that is so frustrating. Yeah. I've ordered records and as like pre-orders and
oh
then forgot that I ordered them like legit 6 months later.
yeah,
And then I come home from work and I'm like, oh, there's a package for me. And I'm like, that looks like a record. I'm like, when did I
when
buy
did
a
I buy
record?
that? Yeah.
And then I open it up. I'm like, oh shit, that's sick.
You're
It's
like,
like
holy
Christmas
fuck.
Day.
You're
You know
like,
what I
wow,
mean? I just get a
when did
new
I buy
record.
this? And then you like
Yeah.
look through your receipts and you're like,
I was
bought
like,
this in
oh, August.
2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
wow, it just got here. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, shout outs to vinyl. If you do buy vinyl, you like must either hate yourself or you just love waiting a long time for shit, which is me. I'm speaking about myself. Like,
Yep.
I'm holding
Yep.
up a mirror against me, so I get it. Shout outs to let us know in the comments what you've picked up recently. And while you're there, you can also give us a cover recommendation for Pedestals down in the comment section below. I can't guarantee they'll do a cover, but I have a little faith.
We'll
Democracy's
discuss
here.
it at
Yeah,
length, and then
yeah.
we probably won't do it because we can't agree upon it.
But you do it for the fans, I would
That's
hope
true.
so.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a
There you
good
go.
point.
Well, guys, if if any of the other pedestal guys watch this part of the video, listen, it's for the fans, and you don't want to let your fans down. Come on,
That's
that
true.
would be very upsetting. I'm here for the people.
That's
But
true. We do it for the people.
the next question I have for you, Austin, is kind of in the same lane. If you guys were to pick somebody to collaborate with on an up and coming pedestal song, who would you just absolutely love to work with?
Um, I would I would personally just go back to Teenage Wrist.
Ooh,
I feel like what they're doing right now and like I feel like they just set themselves apart from a lot of the other kind of alternative shoegazy sort of sound, sort of bands.
I agree.
Um, and it's like really interesting. It still sounds like the same band, but they've shifted since their lineup has kind of changed,
Correct.
and
Yeah, I
I feel
remember
like
that.
it's changed for the better. I feel like they just put out a single I thought was really really good. Their
Sunshine.
last
Yep.
record, yeah, Earth is a Black Hole was like I can't remember if it was 2021 or 2022, but like one of my favorites of whichever year.
I think it's
Um,
21. I think
oh,
you're correct. Oh. Uh, I feel like there's gonna be a very strongly worded phone call with our lovely
I'm
people over.
dude, like yeah, like not non-interview like conversation. We like my town contracts out Xfinity, and like they're the only service provider. I
Oh,
literally can't. It's not like I can be like, hey, I'm gonna go
somewhere
with
out
somebody
with
else.
Verizon. Yeah,
Give me better internet or I'm leaving or something. They just know they don't have to do anything because they're like contracted.
they
It's
suck. Yeah, I
yeah.
can say that.
So
Get better shit, Xfinity. Come on.
it's dog shit. But yeah, Teenage Wrist.
Yes.
They're the best.
They're awesome. Yeah. I feel like
Yeah.
now Austin is just gonna consolidate all of his answers to like very quick shit so that he is so that
Uh
in the god awful case that his internet shuts off that we'll be right, we'll be fine, you know. Editing
it's
Brandon is
fine.
not
If
having a
I
full blown.
only if I only say 3 words at a time, like I won't get cut off. It's fine. Um
Editing Brandon's not having a full like mental collapse right now. We'll find
I'm
out.
so sorry.
No,
I'm
I'm just
so
kidding.
sorry.
I'm just kidding. I'm good. I've done this for long enough. This is not hard. But yeah, I will say Earth is a Black Hole came out in 2021. So, yeah, it's
Okay.
been 2
Yeah.
years and someone in commented on my reaction video to Sunshine and said that there's an album possibly coming out this year, and it does look like they have Epitaph as their label and it says TBA. So, listen,
Okay.
I'll take a new album, you know. So
Okay.
so there we go. You've heard it here first, guys. If you're a
That's
Teenage
good
Wrist fan,
news.
you know something is on the way. I can't tell you when or where or when it's gonna happen, but hey, they said 2023, so you know it's on the wiki. So
That's dope.
take
That's
it
dope.
as you will.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, no, I would agree with that. I really got into Teenage Wrist after they did that Loathe cover, and I was like, who is this band?
Mm,
And I was like, I've never heard of them. And then that's when I kind of took the rabbit hole dive, and then I was like, oh well, I should check out their new song Sunshine, and I checked that out, and they like commented back, and they were like, thanks for doing this. This is awesome. And I'm like, come
that's
on
so
the
sick.
show, please, for the love of God, I'd love to have you
Please.
on.
Please.
Yes,
Please.
please. I'd love that. But yeah, Teenage Wrist,
Yeah.
great band.
Yeah.
That would be very cool. I think the mesh, like I feel like you guys would mesh super well. So love
Yeah.
to hear that. So Teenage Wrist, I know you watched the reaction video, so you know, listen, if you want another do me another solid and like, you know, collaborate with Pedestals, like, you know, I don't know, do like a split EP, that'd be kind of tight, you know. I'm just
That'd
saying.
be very cool.
I don't
That'd be
know.
very cool.
So listen, guys, this is what I
I
need
miss
you to do.
splits, dude.
Oh, splits are great. I love that. The last split that I really enjoyed that came out recently was that Alpha Wolf Holding Absence split. That was, ooh, so good.
I did not check that one out.
Great. You should check that one out. That's
I'll have to, yeah.
Holding Absence. If you haven't checked out that band, 10 out of 10 would recommend. Great band. Probably one of my favorite bands right now. And have been for a little bit. And then Alpha Wolf is like just like a gnarly metalcore band from Australia, and I feel like that's the best way I can describe them
That's
because
sick.
they're just like you want to get like punched in the gut. That's like the type of band that will just like literally just uppercut you into the stomach, man. I'll tell you what, they
Hell
got
yeah.
some great shit. So salutes to both of those bands. But
They got to get you on the PR team because that's just a good description right there. That's a
that's
good.
what that's what I've
That's
been
a.
saying,
I'm
man.
gonna go listen. I'm gonna go listen.
Oh,
That's
I
you.
love it.
I'm sold. I'm sold.
Love it,
That's dope.
guys. Alpha Wolf, reach out. That'd be sick. You know, I'd be a PR manager. But yeah, guys, if you want to hear Pedestals collaborate with Teenage Wrist. I need you to go onto social media. I need you to tag both Pedestals and Teenage Wrist, and then type in the word collaboration or collab. You know what the kids say now, and just send it out on social media. I'm not a legal scholar, but it's out on the internet, so there's a likelihood that it is real. So I'm just saying,
That's right. That's right.
just put it out there. Put it out in the ether, manifest these things. That'd be great. So I'm just saying, like Instagram or like Twitter would be great. A great retweet.
Twitter's a
Chef's
good place to
kiss.
just toss some thoughts out.
Yeah, yeah. Why
Your hopes
not?
and dreams, just
Yeah,
toss them out. Just
yeah.
throw them
I
out there.
I would love that. So I think I'm gonna tweet about it, and then you know what? Like if you want to retweet that, I'm just saying, it'd be kind of
You could.
tight. You got
You could.
you'd be kind of cool if you ask me. So
Be
yeah,
kind of tight.
yeah, you get kind of tight. So just listen, do that. That'd be sick. Let us know. But the next question I have for you, Austin, is obviously you do vocals in this band, and I see there was a guitar in the back. But what is another musical instrument you'd love to master?
Like I sing and I play the guitar, but I'm not really good at the guitar.
Okay,
Like I'm good enough at the guitar to demo stuff out and like
you're
you know get,
passable.
get get through it. I'm passable, yeah, but I'm not like go on stage and like rip a show or anything like that. Um, but yeah, so I would say guitar, even though I already play guitar. But otherwise, I would love to be able to play the drums.
Oh yes.
I've never like sat down and like really practiced for like a frequent amount of time or anything like that. But every time I like sit behind a kit, I'm just like my body just doesn't know what to do.
That's
It's
same.
just
Big
so
facts. Yeah.
so confusing and just but I love it. Like I love drums are fucking sick and outside of like I'm very melodic driven. But like out of like the rhythm section of like bass and drums, I not that bass is very important, but drums are just way more interesting to me.
I would agree. Yeah, as also a
Yeah.
guitar player myself, and like I don't know, I can do a mean air drum, but I feel like
Hell yeah.
that stuff doesn't translate over to the kit. People
No,
only see the
no.
top half, and they're like, "Dude, this dude crushes." Yeah, I feel like he'd be a
Yeah.
great drummer,
Yeah.
and then you see my like legs like trying to
Yeah.
figure out what to do with
Once
like the
once you try
bass
to get
drum.
the feet involved,
Oh,
that's where it all falls
yep,
apart. Yeah.
exactly. Top half, great. I feel like I could
Yeah.
just like crush it with like the best of them, but like.
No.
Feet, once you add the feet in,
No.
my brain like shuts down like Windows, it's just like
Yeah. Yeah.
closes out blue screens, so
Yeah. It's if it's not like a 4 on the floor, I'm just like I'm lost. I'm just
yeah.
totally lost. It's not happening.
Yeah, my brain's like Austin's internet connection, just gone,
It just shits itself
It
every
just
10
sheds
minutes.
it. Listen, I gotta throw a shade at Xfinity somehow, here's that L. You still haven't picked
Yeah.
it up yet, so
Not happy
we're
about it.
still waiting for it. But the next question I have for you, Austin, is my personal favorite. I'm a huge nerd, so I love asking this question. If you could be a video game character, who would you be?
Kirby. I got that boy tatted on my thigh, bro.
Oh, wait. Let's see if I can find it. I have it here on my desk somewhere. Oh yeah, I got him. My little
Hey,
my little
there he is.
Kerbo.
There he is. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. I'm not like a massive Kirby enthusiast, but I have like a lot of nostalgia around like Kirby 64
Oh,
specifically.
go to
It was
game.
like a game that me and my sister played for like hours and
Great game.
hours on end as kids. So that's like to this day probably like my favorite childhood video game. So I've got Kirby tatted on me for the memories,
I love that. Yeah. I
Yeah.
also loved just my favorite ability from that game was when you get the sword plus the fire and you create that
Yeah.
fire sword.
Yeah.
That shit was
Yeah.
hard. That shit was
Dude,
hard.
I like the you go rock and electric and you're just slinging around like an electric rock and shit and whipping people in the
The
face with
electric
it.
sword was great too, because that reminded
That
me of
one's
like
good.
Star
Yep.
Wars, he's got the
Yep.
lightsaber, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm
Good
just
game, dude. It's a great
original
game.
original game. I love
Yeah.
that. Kirby and the Crystal Shards, kudos,
Yeah.
salutes. One of the best to do it, so
Yep.
love it. Next question I have for you, Austin. If you were to compile a dream tour lineup, including Pedestals, who would be a part of that lineup?
So a band that I haven't actually mentioned that I'm surprised I haven't mentioned them, would be Nothing,
Oh, nice.
uh,
Okay, yeah.
Super Heaven, um, I'm gonna try to go with one, probably Basement. Probably Basement. Those are the bands where like they've I don't think all three of them, and then maybe I'd throw like Balance in there with them. But like
Oh,
those four bands, I think all played shows with each other, but never at the same time. So like I know at least Nothing and I think Nothing and Super Heaven have played together. I know Balance and like Super Heaven have played together. Like, but I don't think all of them have like collectively gotten. But to me, that's like my 2010s like wet dream show. You know what I mean? Like,
to be fair, yeah.
so to me that would be really cool. Yeah.
I'd love that. That'd be
I
great.
don't know who's gonna show up to a 5 band gig, but
I don't know. I'll show
you
up to
know,
5 band gigs, so
sometimes, yeah, maybe I don't know, dude. I'm getting old, so I show up and I'm there for like 20 minutes, and I'm like, bro, my feet hurt, my back hurts. I'm like, when? I'm like, let's go next set, next set. I'm like, I'm old. I'm too old.
Meanwhile, I'm like the 30-year-old that has the like holding the camera up with like the fucking like my backpack that has all of like my other gear in it.
Yeah, that's
And
crazy,
I've been
dude.
standing for like 4 hours, and I can feel my legs giving out, even though I've gone to the gym and I've just been training in the dojo for like
Yeah,
god tier leg strength, and it still hurts. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. It happens, but yeah, I feel like I feel that on on a spiritual level.
yeah, 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 dude. No, I'm just like posted up in the back. I'm not in the fucking pit anymore. I'm
Nope,
not
same.
like
Yeah,
jumping around. I'm like, and then when bands come on, I'm having like I don't look like I'm having fun, but internally I'm having the best time ever.
yeah.
And then
Meanwhile, you
like
look at Austin, and he's just like,
I'm just yeah, I'm that guy, but
and
like
then like
internally I'm
little
having a
Austin
great
inside
time.
you just like jumping up. He's
Yep,
like, yeah, this band's sick. I love him.
yep. And then like as soon as the band's done, I'm just like, man, could they like just kind of get gear off stage and back on like a little faster, just for me. So I'm like, I got a bad back, I can't be standing here all night.
You're like, I got a kid. I gotta go home to and see.
Yeah, I'm like somebody's got to
It's
relieve
like,
Nana,
yeah.
she's got to get home.
That's that's the products of unfortunately getting older and being in the scene and
Yeah,
like seeing kids that are like 18, like they're like, this is our first project, and we're like, cool, all right.
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
not that not that I don't want
yeah,
to listen to bands that like are starting out, but you're just like,
yeah,
all right, man, like you have like at least 10 plus years ahead of you doing this
yeah,
shit. Like I'm here to see Basement headline or whatever.
yeah,
Like I get
yeah,
it.
yeah,
It's tough. It's tough
yeah.
getting old and being in the scene. Let us know if you're an elder emo, much like us. And does your back hurt and do your feet hurt when you're at shows? Would love to know down in the comments. Let us know it's good. But next question I have for you, Austin, is what is your favorite live band to see who kind of puts on that great live performance?
I'll probably go back to 4 Year Strong, even though again they're not like my favorite band. Like I like them a lot, but they're really they just I don't know. I think it's a combination of like obviously their music's super energetic. They're incredible performers. They've got great stage presence, but then just like the crowd itself is crazy. Like the
Oh
crowd
yeah,
itself
they're
goes
nuts.
nuts.
Yeah.
You like can't help like they're a band where like I'll I will get in the pit for them. And I don't listen to their music like that, but I'll get in the pit for them because it's just a good energy. Everybody's like super kind and like great, but
The vibes are on point.
oh fucking
Oh. Oh man. Well, at least it was.
we're
At
used
least
to it.
we ended it off on like a good
We're
cut.
used to it now.
The
It's
cuts are on
normal.
point. We're just gonna power
Yeah,
through it every time. But
yeah.
I love that. I did want to get your comment on this because I feel like it's appropriate since we talked about the pit. I saw this one post. I don't know if you're familiar with the band Trophy Eyes or not, but they got into a little hot water about like this one because they're on tour with Against the Current, which is like kind of like more of a pop rock band, and
Okay.
somebody was complaining about how the pit energy. They're like, "I didn't come here to get into the pit," blah blah blah, and I was like, "I
I
get
think I
it."
saw someone talking about that. Yeah.
I like get it, from like a viewership perspective. Like, like this isn't the type of energy you expect from like a pop rock kind of like, band that's on tour with a pop rock band. I get that. But I also feel like you take your own risk by being up at the front and that because
Yeah.
like you're gonna have crowd surfers, you're gonna have people that are like moshing or
Yeah.
pitting or whatever, like that's just kind of the inevitable process of if you like the band and you want to be up close, like you gotta realize that that's like
Yeah.
what's gonna happen, so
Yeah. My only thing is like, if you're targeting someone who clearly doesn't want to be involved, like I think you're an
yes,
asshole. And I've seen that multiple times. Like
like
my
crowd
my
killing, yeah.
my wife has been like hit in the head by like random dudes like in the
Oh, it's
pit, and
terrible.
like and like literally it's crazy though, because even before I can like get to the dude to be like, yo, what the fuck, she's like dragging him to the ground and shit. doesn't doesn't happen now. This was like 5 years ago, but we just
Hardcore.
don't even go in the pit now. But
That's fair. Yeah.
it's like stuff like that really bothers me, because it's like you're clearly like, this person's not here for that, and it's not like they're in
Yeah.
the middle of the pit
Yeah.
and they're just like, where the fuck am I? Like,
Yeah.
they're on the outskirts and you're like going out of your way to get them.
Correct.
Like,
Yeah. I agree with that
that stuff
mentality. Yeah.
I'm not really down with. But like, yeah, like if you show up to like a hardcore show and you
Yeah.
like go to the pit and you get smacked in the head, like,
That's your
and
fault.
then you're upset about it, like that's your own problem,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Know your
But
risk. That's how I see it. Like
yeah,
if you
exactly.
know the
Or
environment, know the bands that are going to be on the bill, know
yeah,
the type of energy they're going to bring. That's all I say. Do your
yeah.
homework. That's
Um, I will I will say, dude, I saw uh Taking Back Sunday and fucking who was it? Uh Every Time I Die.
great lineup.
Both interesting lineup, like
Yes.
variety show, right? I will say, and I was like I wasn't in like the pit area, but I was like right up front. And the buddy I was with like really loved both bands, whatever. So we were right up front. I will say, Taking Back Sunday's crowd was like way shittier. Like there was no etiquette involved at all. Like you just
yeah.
had like drunk people just doing whatever they pleased. They didn't care what was going on. And then like Every Time I Die, it was like, just the typical someone falls down and like a whole
Yeah,
group of
everybody's
people
like,
are
"Oh
there like
yeah, we
pulling
gotta
them
pick you
back
up."
up and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah. That's great.
Like, so like it is interesting the kind of energy that you'll see at like one band versus another. Like you would expect Every Time I Die to be the like harder crowd to kind of fight through, but like it was not the case.
Yeah, I feel that. It's like I went to the only show I can remember where a pit was like just insane was I saw State Champs, and just like everybody was like, you had people that were like, hardcore dancing, but like, it was good. Like not everybody was
Yeah.
vibing. But my God, the crowd surfers are fucking insane. Like there was so many goddamn crowd
Yeah.
surfers. It's just like I get it, but I'm like, there's literally a pit in the middle of this venue. Like
Yeah.
no one's gonna be
Yeah.
carrying you across this like literal like desert like oasis in the
Yeah.
like that's just not gonna happen. But yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. I get it to a certain degree. Like I could see both sides, but like I also like I don't want anybody to get hurt at a show because
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
sucks, and
Yeah.
nobody wants that type of etiquette at a show. But like if you see people just like going go into a pit, like just move over or
Yeah.
somewhere
If that
outside of the
shit's
pit,
forming around you, just walk away.
just walk
Just
away.
walk
Yeah,
outside of it.
it's just easier to
And
go away from that,
yeah.
than to just be a
Yeah.
part of it and then mean tweet on Twitter or on Instagram or
Yeah.
wherever the fuck it was at and just be like, "Oh, I got hurt in a pit." It's like, yeah, well, you were also like probably on the corner of the pit, and people don't have any idea of their surroundings, so it's just like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just got to be careful. Just be
Yeah.
careful. If you go to shows, be careful. If you get into a pit, just like fucking walk out of the pit. Like you shouldn't. If you don't want to be there, just don't be there. Just
Just
that's
don't
it.
be there.
Just
Yeah.
don't be there. Just
Yeah.
be like Austin and I in the back with our earplugs in and just have our arms
That's
crossed.
right.
That's it.
That's
That's
right.
where it's at. You're gonna
Ear
be
protection is important.
you're gonna be there at that point eventually, so you might as well start early. So
Yep.
then everybody's eventually going to be like this at shows now. No, I'm just kidding.
Yep.
Please don't ever let that happen. That'd be
Don't do
scary
that.
as fuck.
Don't do that.
But the next question I have for you, Austin, is favorite TV show, favorite movie.
Favorite TV show. I don't really watch like a ton of TV.
That's fair. Yeah.
I'll say like Breaking Bad is probably one of the best shows I've watched. Um, I've recently watched The Last of Us just because I
Oh, the
played the
game.
game.
Yeah.
Um, that was like really good. Like I think as far as like TV goes, like what regardless of like enjoyment, it's just like how well produced it was. Like that's definitely up there. Um, movies for me, like same. I don't know. I'm not a big like TV or movie guy. I really liked Interstellar when I was like maybe like
Nice.
high school or something when it came out, and I remember that one sticking with me. Um, yeah, not a big movie guy, not a big movie
That's
guy.
all right.
TV a little bit more so, yeah,
Yeah, I feel like bar for bar, Last of Us was great, and just kind of like playing the game and then kind of like figuring out how they were going to craft that story into a TV show. I
yeah,
didn't think I mean, I feel like they had a good basis just because like The Walking Dead was also a very popular kind of like show similar to that.
yeah,
So I feel like that kind of like laid the ground rules, but like I think they took it in such a great direction and
yep.
crushed it. So I love seeing the video game adaptation, man. Like, I don't know, us nerds are just eating well, so I'll take
That's
it.
right, dude. Yeah, dude. I'm glad that's finally happening because there's just plenty of storytelling out there, like within video games that it's just like you can just milk it. Like you can just milk that shit. And the people who make video games get to make money off of it even more so than they already were. And the people who are like writing those stories in the first place get like it's just an all around like positive, and it needs to happen more often.
I
Like
agree.
yeah,
I can get behind that. I don't know if
yeah.
Austin's running for uh, like a government officiated job, but that felt like a very tailored speech.
That's
So I appreciate it.
that's literally the only thing that I'm running with is just video game movies or TV shows. Nothing political, just literally that.
I'll give me the ballot. I'll vote for you. Easy, easy. Next question I have for you, Austin, is if you were trapped on a desert island for the next month, and there's one album you could bring with you to listen to, what album would that be?
Peripheral Vision by Turnover.
Oh, that
Yeah,
was that was
yeah,
pretty quick. I like that.
yeah. Definitely that one. That's probably if not my favorite, like definitely top five for sure.
Love that. Love
Yeah,
that. Great choice. Well,
yeah.
the last question hopefully will not get interrupted by
We'll
just
see.
just
We'll
don't
see.
Comcast, if you fucking cut it at this part, I'm gonna be pissed. That's all I'm gonna say. But the question I have for you, Austin, is obviously I love doing interviews. I love talking to bands. This is a large passion of mine. But I wanted to know, going through and then listening to just kind of pedestals in your story as making this band. Like, there's a lot of trials and tribulations that you guys have went through over the years, and I wanted to know like what kind of fuels your passion for creating music? Like, why do you do it? Why is it important to you? Because I find that if anything, it gives me a lot more admiration for the people who make the music. So, why is this important in your life, and why do you continue to do it?
Honestly, I just find writing music to be incredibly cathartic. Um, like I've written so many songs about just the things that I've experienced growing up or, even recently in adulthood and just kind of trying to maneuver the world and the shitty things, the good things. Like it's just I have a hard time being able to like process things I've gone through and talk
Sure.
about them and like use just normal conversation to discuss them. And I've found that like music has been a really accessible way for me to um, kind of work through some of the things that I've gone through in my life. Um, and then it's cool because you put that stuff out to the world, and then like there's a ton of other people who have kind of gone through the same thing or experience something similar and you get to kind of hear like, hey, this like line or this lyric or like really moved me or like kind of crushed me and like it was really really great. And I don't know, I think to me that kind of makes it worth it. And I would say that's why I kind of keep at it, because like we talked about before, that we ain't making money out here. We just cashing in the vibes and some catharsis, I guess.
No, yeah. And then in regards to that, that gives me a good follow-up point, which is, what are you talking about in appearances? Like, you said that this is, a way for you to kind of, talk about things that are maybe a little bit more difficult to talk about, like in normal conversation. So, was appearances based off of anything particular in your life that you wanted to kind of get off your chest?
Yeah, so this one's less of like a super like maybe interpersonal like experience and
Hmm.
more of like a kind of a perspective on like how I see the world kind of functioning like via the internet, and like kind of realizing that we live our lives on the internet. We can't like not do it. It just kind
Sure.
of is the way it
Yeah.
is at this point. And I don't love that, but like you kind of have to accept it. And you kind of just see that, you know, everything you see on there is kind of just a highlight reel, right? And like it's not really a new concept or anything. Like I think we've all been well aware of that over the last like 10 or 15 years
Sure.
of like
Yeah.
people our age probably using the internet. And like it's just kind of coming to terms with like we
Oh man. Poor Austin. Oh, it wouldn't even it wouldn't even let you back in automatically. So I feel
it's
like
just incredible.
Google's like, what's going on, man? Is someone breaking
I
into
could
your
start over.
No, I
Um,
you got to the point where you're like, from what I remember was about like just kind of seeing everything as social media as like a highlight reel, essentially.
yeah, and so with everything kind of being a highlight reel, it's you kind of start to wonder like, am I doing the right thing? Like, is there something I'm missing? Like, I see everybody doing X, Y, and Z, and it looks like really amazing. And maybe you start feeling bad about yourself, or I don't know, you just start doubting maybe what it is
Sure.
you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like in part that. And then the other part is like, like I don't want to get caught up in that. I'd love to just leave the internet behind. But especially where I'm making music, it's like it's the only way to market
Yeah.
my music. It's the only way
Unfortunately,
to
yeah.
get my name out there. It's the only way to get people to like be able to find us and listen to our music and connect with people through our music. And so it's just kind of like the irony of just like you got to play the game that you don't want to play and like participate in the thing that you don't really love. And that side of things definitely doesn't bring me a ton of joy. Um, and kind of just like coming to terms with that, I guess. Um, yeah,
Yeah, no, I see that too, and that was kind of what I picked up from the song is just like, you know, everything online is like a bird's eye view. It's just like, oh, okay, yeah, this like, I could look at like Austin's profile and be like, oh my god, he had a kid, great, that's awesome. Like he's married, sick. Like those are all great things to celebrate. But I also feel like you can kind of be overwhelmed by like other people's accomplishments and stuff, and
just giving it an eye roll at this point.
yeah, as soon as I see that, I'm like, I just stop. But no, I feel like you see this like, you see these accomplishments that other people make, and it makes you kind of like rethink your life. Like people always
Yeah.
ask me all the time, like being a 30-year-old, you're like, oh yeah, you're doing like YouTube and you have like a steady job. Like, do you want to get married? Do you want to have kids and stuff? And I was like, yeah, of course I want those things, but I also
Yeah.
like don't feel like my like importance is based off of like what I show other people on social media. Like I think I
Yeah.
should find my own interpersonal like importance in what I do and like why I love to do it, and that's why I, love interviewing bands and stuff. But um but I also find that sometimes you are measured up against other people, and that's like, it's a terrible thing. You never want to feel
Yeah.
like that way
Yeah.
or feel like, smaller in comparison to someone else. But
Yeah.
I also feel like we all go about different things in our lives in some way. So I think it's
Yeah.
just not necessarily measuring it against someone else. It's just like, taking those small victories. It's like, oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
had Austin from like Pedestals on. That's amazing. Like, great band. You should check them out, links below, like stuff like that. Like those are things that I like is cool for me, or like seeing a band
Yeah.
get signed that I've been working with for a long time. Like that is the fucking coolest thing ever because I was
Yeah.
like, I know they've been working their ass off to do it. So like, I try to celebrate those moments as much as like I would hope that other people celebrate my moments and what I do. So I feel like it's like
Yeah.
I look at, social media from that lens as much as like my life again is revolved around that because I do interviewing and like otherwise my channel probably would not be nearly as popular if I wouldn't even have a channel to be first and foremost,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it kind of relies on me posting about it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel that
Exactly.
it's a double-edged sword and I find
Yep.
that you gotta be able to play that game, unfortunately. But I think
Yep.
I would hope that there's like that positive reinforcement that other people give and like, and
Yeah.
that you want to see your friends succeed just as much as you want to succeed or and vice
Yeah.
versa. So I feel
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And that's at the end of the day, it's like, whether it's music or something like what you're doing here, it's like you do it because you like doing it and you kind of accept like how you have to do it because otherwise you wouldn't get to do it.
Yeah.
And so like it's like kind of just acknowledging it and then being like, yep, that's a thing, not a fan of it. We're going to keep doing it and it's going to be okay. And like
Yeah.
that's fine. And then like that from like a band perspective and then on like a personal perspective of like, yeah, seeing everybody like doing all the stuff that they're doing like in their own personal lives and being like, oh, why haven't I done that yet? Or why it's like starting to realize that, everybody's kind of on their own timeline. Everybody like even if somebody is married, has this, has that, got a new job, whatever, it's like you would it be great, I'm sure, for some people who see that to be like, I want that. Sure. You should do it for the right reason and you shouldn't do it just because you see other people doing it.
Sure.
And
Exactly.
I think that's like the most important thing of like you could get out of kind of thinking about these sort of ideas. It's just like what you're doing with your life probably is fine. I mean, I don't know everybody. Probably what
Most
everybody's
cases, yeah.
doing in most cases, like everybody's doing their best and everybody's like doing what they can to get by and to like be happy and fulfilled and like, don't be out there thinking that you're like doing something wrong because you're probably not.
Yeah. I always say
So
find your happiness, find things that make
yeah,
you live your life and want to live it to the fullest. And so
yeah,
I feel like I have found that doing this, and I hope that is relayed to the people that watch my content because I love doing this. I wouldn't do it any other way. And
yeah,
we joke about being poor, but I mean, realistically, it's like I have the luxury of being able to do this and meet other people, and that's an amazing thing. And money really isn't something that I'm like focused on. If I make money doing this,
yeah,
great. If I
yep,
don't, I'll be fine as well. But
yep.
if anything, I'd really want you to just throw your money at Pedestals, which you can also check the link in the description where you can buy merch. I just checked it all out, and I'm gonna have to grab a shirt because I got to represent the family here. So
Appreciate
definitely
that.
go do
Appreciate
it.
that.
But I'm gonna leave the floor to Austin. Hopefully, hopefully Xfinity won't, mess up anything right now.
We'll see.
We'll see. But Austin can tell everyone where they can find Pedestals at, what you guys have coming up in the next couple months. This is going to be out at like the beginning of June. So if you have a new song coming out, let us know. And
Word.
anything else.
Yeah, I'm Austin from Pedestals. You can go find us on most socials at Pedestals Band. We've got links there where you can find our new single appearances, our new music video for that song, as well as our merch. And you can follow us wherever you can find us and listen to us wherever you can listen to us. Yeah.
I'll leave all the links below so you don't have to do that. So
Hell
go check
yeah.
them out. And
Appreciate it.
go check out my reaction video to appearances. That will also be in the description if you'd like to watch that. Be so kind to go do that. And you know what? Listen, I found that they have a YouTube channel, so and they only have 9 subs. So you know what? Listen,
It's true.
we're gonna try to
Fresh
crack
account.
that 100. Man, come on,
Yes,
let's
sir.
go. I know enough of
Yes,
you watch
sir.
my shit that you can do it, and they need that custom URL. You know, I know YouTube things. You know, I might be, you know, yeah, I might be on YouTube or something. But
Yeah.
please
Yes, sir.
go give them a subscribe. Well deserved band, and you should go show them some love. And if you like them a lot, go pick up a shirt. I feel like that would be really sick. And then you know
That'd be cool.
you have some cool merch. I'm just saying, you know, so
That's right.
go grab it, go pick it up. And you know, if you like this interview, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Goes a long way. And huge thanks to Austin for coming on tonight.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, dude. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it.